I'm back out here with the Eachine mini Cessna, and I have it bound up to my TX16S transmitter. So I thought we'd do a couple of cruising flights, because on the TX16S, just like the Mini Wing Dragon, you can bind to it. You do have to bind each time. It doesn't auto bind. And the gyro selection is not working, so it's stuck in beginner mode. I sent some messages back and forth last night with the Oz Tree Crasher. I know he's posted a question on multi-module to find out what's going on with the gyro selection on this protocol. Hopefully they can get that sorted out in short order. And then when that's fixed, I'll bring it back out and demonstrate the gyro modes with the TX16S. But let's go ahead and get it in the air. And the amount of resolution, this is my second flight with it, with a TX16S, the amount of resolution that you have with this transmitter on this plane makes it feel like a completely different plane. I mean, it is, and it's been that way with every one of these little micros that I have bound up to. The amount of resolution that you have on the control surfaces, and one thing that I really like is you have so much more resolution on the throttle, which gives you a lot more control. It's going into the wind. We've got 4 to 7 out here this morning, but completely different plane, you know. Look at that spin around. So much easier to fly with a hobby grade transmitter. There's just no comparison. And if you've only flown these with the stock transmitters, go slow. If you've only flown these with the stock transmitters, I can't tell you what a difference it is with one of these hobby grade transmitters with the multi-protocol module. You know, whether it's the RadioMaster TX16S, whether it's something else. But I mean, it's just this one of these radios. If you don't have one, you know, it should be your next acquisition. You know, I mean, it's amazing the difference. I absolutely love it, man. I won't buy another transmitter in the future that doesn't have multi-protocol capability, because it just makes that much of a difference. And why have multiple transmitters, you know, to fly multiple planes? I like bringing one transmitter out to the field with me to fly everything, you know. And the TX16S is, in my opinion, it's an awesome radio. It is my primary radio for all my planes. So I'm still in the process of getting all my planes moved, you know, set up on the RadioMaster TX16S. My primary transmitter before this one was the Devo 8S, which is a very nice radio. So I think what I'm going to do with it, now that I have this transmitter, okay, let's land it. It feels like I'm running low on power. But look at that. I mean, you know, even bringing it in for a landing, it's so much different than it is with the stock transmitter. But it's awesome. And like I was saying, now that I have the RadioMaster TX16S, I think what I'm going to, I was afraid to do this. You know, you can grab the other modules and do a hardware modification on the Devo 8S. And it's capable of running OpenTX. So I think what I'm going to try to do this autumn is get the other radio frequency modules and do that modification on the Devo 8S and flash it with OpenTX and the multi-module firmware. And then I'll have 2 radios, you know, and the Devo 8S will be my backup radio. But no comparison whatsoever flying this with the radio Master TX16S in the stock transmitter. Absolutely love it. So anyway, I'm going to put another battery pack in it. I'll see you in a minute. Flight number 2. Alright, let's get it in the air. My gear's not sounding so good on my motor. I wonder if I damaged something when I... I think I may have damaged something on the gearing when I nosed it in yesterday. Before I put up the final... the third review video and the final review video of this plane, I was testing it out a little bit before I started filming. And I ran out of talent and nosed it in intermediate mode. And so I think I may have damaged something in the motor because my batteries, I'm full throttle right now. So I think that I damaged something in the power plant there. I checked my battery on the last flight because it was getting really weak. And it still had 3.9 volts in it on the first flight. So apparently I've damaged something on the gearing on this, or maybe actually the motor, because I mean it hit hard. I was surprised that all it did was break the prop, because I figured when I went to pick it up that the gearbox was going to be destroyed on it, but it may have, you know, damaged the motor by pushing the shaft back into the motor. I don't know. I may have to see if I can use one of my spare motors to replace it, but I don't have any power anymore. Unfortunately, that's full throttle. I barely got enough throttle right now to keep it in the air. Man, that is so much fun. I will be really happy when they get this gyro selection working on this protocol. That is so sweet. Look at that. The amount of resolution I have on these sticks now is unbelievable. So I guess what I will do is I'll go ahead and publish the model file sometime this week, maybe in the weekend. Yeah, I'm gonna have to land. I'm about out of juice. I'm about out of power. I think I damaged my motor. I will publish the model file that I have on the TX16S for this plane this weekend, maybe before that. Yeah, I'm definitely out of. I'm out of power now. I think the motor is just, you know, I think I damaged it, and now the motor is really heating up. All right, let's bring it in for a landing. But look at that. I mean, look how easy it is to land with this transmitter compared to the stock transmitter. Or else I'm just getting lucky. But I can just really float it in now. And I couldn't do that with the stock transmitter. I couldn't do it because I just didn't have the throttle resolution on that transmitter. But anyway, I'll go ahead and I'll meet you back at the hangar real quick, and I'll give you some information on my setup for this plane, where I've got my elevator trimmed and my ailerons and my throws in the transmitter. I can give you that information now, and then I'll publish the model file and the setup file, and then when the gyro stuff is taken care of and I can get that working, then I'll update the model file and post something on Facebook so that you can download the new model file if you want. Anyway, I'll see you back at the hangar. Okay, so no comparison whatsoever, just like all the other microplanes I've flown.
Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention in the review videos is the decals are not applied. You have to apply the decals yourself. There's several decal sheets that come in the box, and I find it easier to apply the decals before I assemble the plane. It's easier for me anyway. Okay, so I went with their default linkage settings for the rudder and the ailerons. So the ailerons are connected to the innermost hole on the control horns, and I believe all of the linkage on the servos were connected to the outer hole on the servo arms. So the ailerons, control horns on the inner hole for the maximum amount of movement, the rudder on the inner hole for maximum amount of movement. And I would recommend with this plane, before you put the wing on it, take that opportunity to take the control arm off of the elevator servo and move your linkage to the inner hole on the servo arm for the elevator to soften it up a little bit. And then finish assembling your plane. The protocol, and I want to thank Oz Tree Crasher for this information again, but the protocol on the TX16S or any multi-protocol radio that you're going to use is the BT99XX protocol and subprotocol BT99. And I noticed that if I left the radio on and then changed the battery out on the plane, sometimes it would go ahead and bind up okay, sometimes it wouldn't. It seemed to be hit and miss. Every time that I've turned off the radio and then powered up the plane, powered up the radio, I've always had to go into the model screen and bind up to it again. So I haven't had to do that every single flight if I leave the radio on, but it's not consistent at all. I have 100% throws on everything, on the ailerons, the elevator, and the rudder. I have 50% expo on the ailerons, 50% expo on the elevator, and 25% expo on the rudder, and that is comfortable for me. So if you want to start with that, after you bind it up with your hobby grade transmitter, take it out and fly it, it will at least give you a successful flight the first time you throw it in the air with your hobby grade transmitter, and then adjust your expo from there. But that was comfortable for me. Like I said, if they get this protocol fixed so that I can set up the gyro modes on a 3-position switch and get that working, I will update the model file. But I plan on publishing a new model group. I think it's going to be group number 5 on our Facebook page, probably on Sunday. And the mini Cessna will be one of those that I publish the model file for. And then I don't know if I'll have time to get all the setup sheets for the 3 planes I'm going to have on there on Sunday, but I'll get the setup files posted as soon as I can get that done. So I've also taken out the Voluntex Ranger G2. I set it up on the TX16S, and then I've also taken out the Zeta Z84 race wing, and I got it set up on the TX16. So that, I think group 5 will have this plane, the Ranger G2, and the Z84 wing. All 3 of those planes I'll publish in group 5 for the model files for group 5, unless something else changes between now and then, but I'll definitely have the Cessna in there. So anyway, I love flying all these microplanes with a hobby grade transmitter. It just makes it so much easier. You have so much control, so much more control over the stock transmitter, and especially with the throttle. And having that much control in the throttle really makes it a lot easier to fly, and to fly slowly too. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.